Arguably one of Nigeria's most prolific, most bankable producers. Emem Isong has come a long way to prove herself, as a credible, highly innovative movie producer. Today, Top Nigeria Stories meets Emem Isong. Enjoy. Alright, to start with, who really is, beyond what I know personally, who would you say Emem Isong is as a person? What defines you and what makes you really think?
Well,
Okay.
I'm just an easygoing person. I would like to call myself focused
Okay.
and quiet, or should I use the word reserved? And that's about it.
Okay. You welcomed a set of twins a few years back. That was done very privately, quietly, and I know you also got married a few years back. Can you tell us exactly how that happened? How was it? What was it like? Being the mother of twins. Would like to maybe talk about that.
Well, there's nothing much to say. 2 years ago, I had twins, and I was very excited about it. And I got married. I got married in 2014.
Yeah.
And I had twins in 2016. I'm a very private person, so I just didn't feel that there was any need to show or to shout and do all of that. And another thing, I'm in our culture.
Yeah.
I would say I married late. So what is the point of doing all of that? Other than that, anyway, even if I were much younger when I got married, I'm not sure I would have done all of that. It's nice, I like to attend it for those who can, but for me, it's not my thing. And God blessed me with twins. It was amazing. But I had I have a 10-year-old son now. I had a boy before that from a previous relationship. But just my.
How did you meet Mr. and Miss Odi? Tell us about that.
God brought us together.
That's the possible.
God brought us together.
Okay, where did you guys meet? Where did you meet him?
We met through a mutual friend.
Oh.
And then one thing led to another.
That was when?
We met the same year we got married.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So that was.
It was a
First love.
whirlwind courtship.
Okay.
We both decided that, we liked each other. What are we waiting for? We were both ready to settle down. We decided to do that.
Why did you say yes to him?
Because he's a fine guy. That's what you want to hear.
Okay. Beyond being fine.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, of course I know.
He's I never really talked about this.
Yeah.
He's just my kind of person. He's my kind of person. He's calm. He's loving. He's supportive.
Wow. Does he love movies?
Yeah, he does. He's also doing that at the moment.
Oh, really? Into
yeah.
movies?
Yeah, he was he was mainly into distribution, but now he's producing and possibly going to direct.
Oh, fantastic.
I dragged him into it.
Okay, are you guys gonna work? Are there plans to work together in the nearest future?
Okay, every now and then, yeah, we do.
Okay, so tell us about the twins. Of course, we hardly see anything about them. Of course, awesome to be private. Well, what was it like being a mother when they came? Of course, you had been a mother before them. What was it like welcoming twins? How has it been? Especially balancing motherhood, being a mother, being a wife, being a movie producer, Real Arts Academy. Man, that's a whole lot. How do you juggle them?
It's the grace of God. It's not been easy. When they came, I was a mother before, but years after, when my son was born, they came. It was not easy for me. It was actually very tough, but I managed. It was quite amazing. I was excited when I realized I was having twins. I was really excited because there's nothing like that in my family, but in my husband's family, they have sets of twins. So for me, I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. I was really excited, but when they came, I'm sure any mother of twins will tell you it is not an easy job, but I thank God. When I look at them, I just...
What's the greatest lesson marriage has taught you so far?
Patience. You have to be patient.
You produced your first movie in 1994, from what I understand, you know, and then you of course co-produced that with someone, and then afterwards you started producing your movies and all of that. Can you tell us how it started? Like, who found, was it you that found Nollywood, or Nollywood found, how did you get into movie production?
I got into movie production in 1994, quite alright. That was when, after I saw this movie, Living in Bondage, which came out I think a year or so earlier, I was quite excited. I read theatre arts anyway. I've always been very art inclined, in as much as I was working in the bank at that time. But I knew that that's not where I was going. I really wanted to be in entertainment, but at the time, entertainment was not really paying, and of course I had to do something to keep body and soul together. But when I now saw the movie Living in Bondage, I knew that I was going to quit my job, and that's exactly what I did. I quit and started looking for how to do production. But I came in, I wrote my script, and at the time I had a friend who was in that movie, Living in Bondage.
Okay.
So we co-produced the movie together. Okay. And this movie is titled Jezebel. That was my first production. I wrote and co-produced that. But my very first solo effort was in 1996 with a movie titled Breaking Point. Breaking Point was a movie I was very passionate about. I wrote the script. I was this starry-eyed young girl looking for millions to produce at the time. I was quite young. I went around trying to talk to the then marketers to see how they could invest in my film, but nobody was budging. And a couple of leads that I had when I was in the bank, I followed that as well, trying to see if I could get some funding for my movie. But nobody was ready to listen to me. I didn't know whether it was because I was quite young or because I was female, I don't know. Anyway, it was very difficult to get funding, but I was so passionate and I wanted to do my movie. So I decided to, I know one day I came back from one of my meetings with someone who promised to give me money. But when I got there, after spending the whole day, and I hardly even saw the guy. He later now sent a message that he's sorry, he's not going to do the movie again. So when I got home, I was actually crying. I was very upset. So my younger sister then, who was in university, who is incidentally is now a producer, would work at the time, she felt very bad for me. I was like, you know what, why don't you just see what you can do on your own we can do this movie without any money. I said, how? Well, whatever is available, we should ask our parents. Then, I mean, our parents were civil servants, they didn't have much, but you know, a mother would always be a mother. When we told them of our plan, and when my mom saw I was really passionate about it, she said, okay, she would give me whatever she could, and that was 60,000 naira at the time.
Oh, so your mom practically bankrolled that first one?
Yes, it was my mom that gave me the 60,000. I promised them that I'll pay back. So that's what I used to make that movie. It sounds crazy, but I shot the movie with 60,000 naira.
How did that happen?
Well,
you didn't have to pay anyone?
I was very bold.
Actors, directors.
I worked on credits.
Oh wow.
Well,
with the actors?
With the actors, with equipment. No, I wanted to at least pay for equipment. Then I really used to admire Uncle Tunde Kilani.
Oh, Tunde Kilani. Okay.
Yes, I loved watching the films, even though I'm not Yoruba, but I enjoyed a lot of his movies, and I was like, I want to make movies like this. So I found out where his studio was, which was in Australia at the time, and I went there and I told him that I wanted to make a movie, I want to use his equipment, and I didn't have one. He was just looking at me. I think it was the fact that I was very bold and how I just talked to him. He said, okay, what do you have? I said, I have 10,000 naira to deposit. He said, okay, I should give him the money, and he gave me a cameraman to even go with me. So I was very excited to me. That was the beginning. I decided to do an audition because I did not have money to pay the then top actors. I knew I couldn't afford them. I knew they wouldn't listen to me. So I decided to create my own. And at the time, one of the top actors then was the late Francis Agu, who was a friend of mine and who had featured in Checkmate and also living in birthday, so he was still a bit popular. So he was the only one that I called. And then I remember one time I had run into an actor then, Uncle Lai Ashadili, who was popular in some of the programs. So I spoke to him and he was willing to work for me. So the rest of the people, I did an audition, and Stella Damasus was in the movie. She came for the audition, and that was her first movie. That was how I started. I told them, look, I don't have money. I gathered my crew members by myself. I did what we call welfare. I was one that cooked for the production. I woke up very early to make sure I cook and make sure that there'll be food for me to take to set. I did not even have a production boss. I just managed as well as I went around to my friends, especially my friends that were in the band, because I knew at least those ones would help. So I collected costumes from any friend of mine that I could see, and I gathered my costumes together. I found another friend to be in charge of the costume, found another friend to be in charge of props, found another friend to be in charge of so many things. We just basically worked like that, and I was very proud of the product. We shot the movie. I thought it was okay. Most of the actors, I just gave them a stipend, and I promised that I was going to pay them when the movie comes out. And I did just that. When the movie was finished, I liked it. I went and Uncle Sunday Kilani allowed me to edit in his studio on credit again. I promised that I was going to pay. So that's actually how I made the movie with 60,000. And I think I pride myself on the fact that I was very bold, because after doing that movie, people were laughing at me. I did a premiere.
Wow.
At the time, there was nothing like that.
Okay, I wanted to ask, was there premieres?
I decided to do my own.
Okay.
Decided to premiere the movie and kind of launch it because of my little experience in the bank. I had a few people in the corporate world because I worked there. So I invited them and I wanted to launch the movie. So a few people helped me. We paid for a hall. I will not forget it. It was engineering close, one hall in Victoria Island. At the time, it was 10,000 naira. At the time, we paid and we rented a projector, invited people. A lot of people also launched the movie for me. So that really helped me. Then I went to AIT and tried a partnership with them where they could give me promotion for me to start. So they told me to go and look for a marketer. At the time in Idumota, I did that, and because AIT partnered with me and there was going to be a lot of promotion, I was able to get a marketer. So that's how we made the movie Breaking Point. I broke even.
Oh wow.
But I didn't make much profit, so everything that came in from that movie I shared with AIT, and then the little that was left I had to pay the actors and the crew members that I was owing. But I was very happy with myself because I had a product.
How do you usually figure out that this is the best actor for this movie? I mean, how did you know she performed well? How did you decipher that she would be a great act for that movie?
When I write my stories, then I used to write. I have the picture in my mind. I know what I'm looking for, maybe because also coming from the theater background, when I'm writing, I'm already picturing the drama. So that helped me in casting because I can see the picture of the person that I want to. If I see the person, first and foremost, the physical appearance of the person will let me know if that person will fit into my character. And when the person now auditions or reads for me and the person is good, then it works for me. So that has actually helped me a lot in casting. I try as much as possible to make sure I get the right person for the character that I'm casting.
Okay, I also read somewhere that you said you produced 12 movies within a year, 12 movies within 12 months. How is that possible?
It is true.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes, some years I've done.
As much as 12 movies within a year?
Yes.
Wow. How do you
have television, straight to TV movies?
Okay.
Yes. Low budget, straight to TV, straight to DVD movies. We don't shoot for so long. Some of those kind of movies. We shoot for like 2 weeks. So if, for instance, I actually want to shoot one movie a month, but sometimes I do 2 or 3 in a month. and sometimes I stay for months, I don't work. It all depends on what I'm doing. I believe in creating content, acquiring content, so I shoot a lot of straight to DVD, straight to TV content. Once in a while, I do movies for the big screen, and that takes much longer. And for the big screen, I could do just 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah, okay. So far, how many movies have you done? Or just give us an idea.
I've done about 70.
70 movies?
70
movies.
Yes.
Wow.
Sometimes I produce for other people.
Okay.
I'm just hired as a producer. For me, my own movies, I think I would say maybe about 30 or thereabouts. I can't remember exactly, but I know totally. Most, I think I've produced about 70 movies.
How do you decipher that a movie would do well? You know, when you're in that start process, how do you know, okay, this is a fantastic material that will do well in the market?
You can't really say. You hope for the best.
Okay.
Sometimes I go with a feeling. Sometimes I have several scripts, I have several ideas, and there might be one that I feel that is going to do very well. I feel strongly about, and most of the times it works for me.
Oh wow.
And there are other times that I will feel so strongly about it and then it tanks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going. So what gives you that strong feeling? What do you see that, you know, recruits that strong feeling? Okay, this is what are the things, what are the characteristics you see in the script that gives you that strong feeling that, okay, this is a fantastic material?
Sometimes it starts with the script.
Okay.
And also you as a person, it depends on how hard. I don't want to use the word hard work. No, yeah, I don't want to use that. It's what you do to the totality of the whole thing. If the script is very good, if you're not careful with the execution of that script, it might not work. But for me, it starts first and foremost with the script. If I'm very convinced that the script is good and I'm really passionate about it and I really believe in the script, I won't even produce anything that I'm not passionate about. If I don't feel a story, I always tell whoever wants to hire me, if you're hiring me to produce, if I don't feel the story, I won't take the job because I'm not going to put my best. But when you feel the story, when you're really passionate about a particular project, you go all out. If they need a helicopter, you find a way to provide a helicopter for that project. So I work based on the story, what I'm passionate about at the time.
So what's amongst all your movies, which has been your highest grossing so far? In terms of financially, which has been the number one bestseller?
If you're talking about in the cinema, Weekend Getaway.
Oh really?
Weekend Getaway was the highest grossing. And at the time, even with very few cinemas, at the time it was the highest grossing that year. And but if you're talking DVD movies, in those I've done, especially when I was working with a marketer called Remy Jess, Games Women Play, Games Men Play, those were movies we sold in millions.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Games Women Play, Games Men Play, Behind Closed Doors, those were movies that really did great out there. And another one I did with Desmond Elliott, Reloaded. We're still selling them actually till now on various platforms. So it all depends.
Okay, so now let's talk about stories. How do you source your stories? How do you get your stories? You know, what are your best sources so far that have proved great over time when it comes to stories?
Inspiration. When I was really into writing, it's what I'm inspired to do. A lot of times it just comes to me. I just have this idea and I start to write. So it depends. It depends on. I think it's my inspiration.
Okay.
Yes.
So when now that you don't get to write as much, how do you source your stories from people?
From people,
Okay.
and I have a couple of writers I work with. Sometimes they just come and pitch a story to me, and if I like, I go with it. Sometimes I do ask for scripts within the circle that I work with. So I try not to. I don't get unsolicited. I tell people, do not send me a script that is not solicited, that I did not ask for, because I don't want any copyright issues. But sometimes I ask people recommend, and I take time, go through the scripts, and if I see anything that catches my fancy, then I'll open it. Hello, my name is Emem Isong. You're watching Top Niger Stories with Isaac. Keep watching.